Greetings and welcome to another impressions video here at Words About Games, and today we're going to be looking at Resolutiion. Resolutiion is an action-adventure game set in a cyberpunk world. You play as an old killer tasked with escorting an AI, exploring a fractured and strange world as you piece together the past, with your memories being a crucial part of the game. I'll be honest, usually my intros describing what a game is are about twice as long as the one I've just given you, at least. But the truth is, even after spending many hours with the game, exploring its world and fighting its enemies, I don't really have much of an idea of what's going on. This feels like it's by design. The game has been built to be mysterious. The world itself has an almost dreamlike quality to it as you explore. The people and creatures that live in it speak in riddles. And there are places where this obfuscation, by design, works quite well. The world of Resolutiion is a fascinating place to explore, particularly because I'm lacking context, with no idea of much of its history to inform me why it is the way it is. It's really interesting to venture into unknown regions with no idea what I'm going to find. And there are some truly awesome things to find here. A strange forest with a heart beating at its centre, the animals who populate it proclaiming anti-imperialist rhetoric, a giant cat that burrows its way around a desert. There's a sense of wonder in exploration, helped along by fantastic pixel art, which gives Resolutiion a unique look. There's a lot of variety to the game's locales, a moody forest, a sun-baked desert, dark mines, and more. Elsewhere, however, Resolutiion can be a difficult game to follow along with. As I mentioned earlier, I have no real clue what's going on in this game. I've spoken to some people who seem to be permanently connected to virtual reality who warn of unrest out of the West. And I've certainly seen some strange and interesting sights, but I don't really have any idea how they all connect together, or even what the story I'm following is. I found an AI within the first 20 or so minutes, and it talks a lot about how important it is for the main character to confront the pain of their memories. But yeah, there's also a giant cat patrolling the desert, and a heart beating in a forest. And a pair of mercenaries who seem to know the main character. I bumped into them senselessly murdering some animals in the forest, so I promptly murdered them right back, only to find a note on a return visit to the same area telling me they got bored and went elsewhere. They were there and they were fine, seemingly oblivious to the fact that I killed them both not that long ago. So naturally I did it again. No one slaughters innocent forest critters and gets away with it in my post-apocalyptic cyberpunk dystopia. It's difficult to grab a hold of anything tangible as you make forward progress, which can be frustrating. I'm pretty sure there's something I can do in said forest. There's a heart beating in its core. That can't just be there for show. There are objects I can strike to light the place up, but they don't seem to do anything. So eventually, I moved on. Sure, I'd missed something. And that's the general feeling I got from playing the game for quite a few hours. One part of the game feels disconnected from the next. The main character is plagued by visions of a young girl crying, NPCs speak in riddles, strange characters seem to have familiarity with the main character. And I get it. This is a game that's designed to be mysterious, and I'm sure these mysteries will be answered or at least acknowledged later in the game. That's how narrative works. But there's precious little to grab onto besides the mystery. For hours, I've felt like each new scene or each new interaction or each new moment in the game feels aimless. I'm given a direction to travel, meet some NPCs in a brand new area who might obliquely guide me towards an objective I need to complete, and a few who make requests that I have no idea how to fulfill. And then after completing an objective or two and beating a boss, I just move on to the next area. There are ways in which the lack of direction creates an interesting, mysterious world to explore and interact with. But it's a rough opening 5 or so hours, and after spending so long blindly wandering around waiting for something to give, narratively speaking, I struggled to find the will to keep peeling away at the game, in the hopes that it would begin to come together if maybe I just completed the next main objective. Honestly, it was the core gameplay that kept me searching for as long as I did. It's nothing too special, but it is fairly solid. It's easy to settle into a fairly steady rhythm once the fighting starts. Combat is fairly basic. You have your melee attack and access to an increasing number of gadgets you find during exploration, though most of these are for unlocking new areas of the map rather than to be used in a fight. There's no dodge, instead you'll rely on strafing around enemies as they attack, occasionally using an incredibly quick sprint to move around them. Combat is about learning attack patterns of enemies, how to maneuver around them, and when there's an opening to strike for damage. It's serviceable without ever really being remarkable, working best during boss fights thanks to the added challenge and expanded movesets of more powerful enemies, which require you to put more thought and effort into how you approach defeating them. Resolution is an interesting game. It sets up a world full of mystery and intrigue, featuring a compelling world that's almost dreamlike in its presentation. Otherworldly locations are mixed with weird sights in a way that makes you want to dig in and figure out as much about this world as possible. But it's all mystery and no payoff, with the game offering no real answers or continual narrative hooks to really keep my interest beyond that initial wonderment. Thanks very much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it or found it useful, consider sticking around here at Words About Games. Our content includes review impressions of games big and small, a weekly podcast dedicated to discussing the happenings in and around the games industry, weekly opinion videos, reactions, debate-driven top 5 and top 10 lists, a regular Hall of Fame series where we discuss our favourite games, and indie game spotlights. We also stream every Friday and Saturday at twitch.tv/wordsaboutgames. Most importantly, have a brilliant day.